Good Monday morning to you all. Hopefully you guys are doing great. Good to see you guys again. We got another Watchmen update. Today we're going to be talking about big news on the investigations into the sabotage of President Trump. We got Mexico hit with a big dose of reality in dealing with the United States. They're getting what they've been given. How about that? And we now know more about the recent war between India and Pakistan. Some people have been not telling the truth, let's just put it that way. And there's going to be some pretty serious political fallout. And the Japanese election just wrapped up, and the results will be interesting. If you're seeing red algae in your rainwater or pools of water, don't let your animals drink it. We have why. We have shortages on garlic. We got power outages to discuss, and gardens and other reports coming from you guys. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates that you guys are sending in. If you have something to share, make sure you use the word update. You can use the word updates if you want, as long as update is in there somewhere. It can be caps, can be not caps, whatever. And we also want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. A lot of you guys have been hearing about them, and some of you guys have decided to reach out to them and have a conversation with them about what you can do with your retirement account. If you're interested at all in having precious metals in your retirement account, they can tell you kind of what's up with that and what the fees are. There's no obligation to move forward with them, but they are giving out a free book called Gold and the Bible. It's an interesting book, and it's got a lot of conversations about kind of what the Bible teaches about gold and kind of historically the place that gold has. So if you want to reach out and get that book and find out some about your retirement account, there'll be a link at the end of the video. All right, the White House is releasing documents showing the political origins of the Russiagate investigation. Intelligence services were overruled and were ordered by the Obama administration and from the highest levels of the Obama administration, from Obama himself, to falsify the reports. Yeah, that's as bad as it sounds. This makes Watergate look like nothing. Looks like everything that's been rumored about this coup apparently is true. And people may be going to jail shortly. Now, President Obama may be above the fray because he has presidential immunity, but the other players in this do not have. We're going to see more of that fallout happening in the coming weeks. The ceasefire in Syria between the Druze, the Bedouins, the Syrian government, and the Al-Qaeda terrorists that are running the Syrian government, and Israel, because in the Middle East, you have to have at least 4 people shooting at each other. The ceasefire seems to be holding. And Damascus, the HTS, or the Al-Qaeda, not in name anymore, but basically the Al-Qaeda guys are sending forces to stabilize the area. It's an interesting world when you have that happening, but the big fallout from this is that the United States, and particularly the Trump administration, is growing increasingly frustrated with Israel jumping into every conflict in the Middle East with relish. And it's starting to rub the Trump administration the wrong way, seeming like Israel's trying to get into all these conflicts that they're not even involved in. But, that's just how they're starting to see it. All right, moving over to Mexico, a little closer to home. The Trump administration is imposing limits on Mexican flights and threatening Delta alliance with Aeromexico in this trade dispute. So what's been going on is basically every time Delta or another American airline tries to fly to Mexico, Mexico's like, you can't bring as much cargo as you want to. You can't do this, you can't do that. And slapping us with all sorts of rules and regulations that do not apply to Mexican air carriers. And they've been basically essentially tariffs on American airlines flying down to Mexico. Well, Delta formed an alliance with Aeromexico in order to kind of like get around that. So basically, they got bullied into this this deal with Aeromexico, and President Trump is like, well, if you're going to play that way, well, one, we're going to start hitting your Mexico flights to the United States with the same rules and regulations that you're hitting us with. Ooh, Mexico doesn't like that. And he's basically saying, I'm going to break up this alliance between Delta and Aeromexico. So you can keep giving them Delta the breaks by partnering up with Aeromexico, but all those flights coming back to the United States are going to get hit with the Mexico restrictions. Mexico is not happy about this. It's amazing how these countries do not like being treated the way that they treat us. It's called reciprocity, and it's apparently the rule of order coming from Washington, D.C. these days. And the international community is just foaming at the mouth mad. Japan. Now, you may be like, well, Japan doesn't really matter. It's kind of an important economic place. And it's a major economic bellwether as well, because they have taken the modern monetary theory to the extreme. Their central bank basically owns half of the stock market in Japan. That's how much stimulus they pumped into the market, is they basically just bought half of the stock market. And when it comes to bonds, when it comes to the amount of U.S. treasuries that the Japanese government owns and central bank owns, it's a lot. So basically, they've been like, Americans have started asking the question, why do we have to pay taxes if the government can just print money? Well, Japan has been doing that for a while. They're just like, let's just print money and see what happens. And so that's why everyone's kind of looking over at Japan going, you know, I wonder what's going to happen. Well, they just completed their elections, and the ruling Liberal Party has lost control of one of the houses, and populists and anti-immigration parties have taken a lot of gains. They want more tax cuts, and they want to crack down on illegal visitors. That's sounding awfully familiar, isn't it? Well, we'll see what happens to Japan. It might get interesting. In the recent fighting between India and Pakistan, remember their fight over Kashmir? India went up and started hitting Pakistan, and Pakistan kind of hit back. There was an air battle where Pakistan's like, we shot down a bunch of their jets, and India's like, no, you didn't. And that's about basically what the argument went like. Well, President Trump has now admitted that 5 jets were downed during the conflict, which directly contradicts India's denials, or more specifically, Prime Minister Modi's denials up to this point. So the United States, with its intelligence services, saying basically the Pakistanis are right. They shot down a bunch of Indian jets. Ooh, this could bring political trouble to Prime Minister Modi. He was very avid in his denials that that's what happened, and now the United States is saying that is indeed what happened. China had already they're trying to stay out of it. China's trying to stay out of it. The United States is kind of trying to stay out of it too. But these were Chinese weapons that were used to down French fighter jets. So, yeah. When you're a NATO member and your jets are getting downed by Chinese missiles, by Chinese fighter jets, that's kind of awkward, isn't it? I mean, the Chinese made, you know? All right, Jennifer says, State Farm has announced it will impose a 27% hike on home insurance policies in Illinois. This is effective next month because, you know, all those hurricanes and wildfires in Illinois are just destroying so many houses that they have to. What kind of disasters do they even have in Illinois? Well, I mean, other than socialism and the Democratic Party, which is pretty dangerous. She continues, this is one of the economic stresses on homeowners who are also dealing with inflationary pressures elsewhere. Yeah, I mean, inflation is just going out of control, and we're being told it's like 2.8%, which is just a joke. It's a joke. Lisa says, garlic powder was available at Kroger in Columbus, Ohio area Saturday, but they have multiple brands, and a couple of them were sold out of garlic powder, which is unusual. I can confirm all of the brands I read that are there say that they're from China. The garlic, so a bunch of the brands out of garlic powder there. Eyes Wide says, Tacoma, Washington State. Here in Western Washington, we are receiving notifications that we need to start conserving water. Tacoma, Washington. They're asking us to take 4-minute showers and conserve water as much as possible. Tacoma, Washington is out of water. Seriously? How dumb do they think we are? I mean, do you know how much it rains in Washington State? It's kind of a lot. They get a lot of rain. There's not many places where it rains more than Washington State. And then they're looking at their constituents and going, yeah, we're out of water. How about you go ask the environmentalists what they're doing to cause this, because that is inevitably the problem. And what about the mismanagement of government and infrastructure? Because that's also one of the problems. They're like tearing down dams, they're destroying reservoirs, and they're releasing reservoir water to save the fishes. And then suddenly it's like, you can't take more than a 4-minute shower once a day because clearly you're the problem. Not to mention all the data centers that they're putting in that are using up lots of tap water. Not supposed to talk about that. The AI powers that be will come after me. What's next says East Orlando. We had to go to the hospital for XYZ reasons. As we arrived in Orlando, we noticed the parking lot was about 70% full. Only 70% full. As we entered the emergency wing, the lobby was empty, completely empty. It looked like a hospital in a small one-horse town on a Saturday. I have never seen an emergency lobby so empty. Everywhere, ever, anywhere. We think it's less visitors in the area, but not sure. Crazy. TGR says northeastern Washington State. Bunch of you guys coming in from Washington recently. We have had 2 power outages in 2 weeks. Speaking of infrastructure issues. And just missed being part of 4 more within the next week by just a few blocks. So 1 block or a couple blocks over, they basically had 4 more power outages. I saw the reports on outages go by on the neighborhood app, and not a single one has been explained. Only that the companies are aware and working to fix it. It has been wreaking havoc on people losing food in their fridges, causing ice buildup in the freezer, and messing with sprinklers in their yards, and their yards are dying because of the extreme heat wave we've had. We have also noticed that the eggs here, while cheaper than they have been for a while, have been bad more often. My pack of 18 brand new eggs had 5 bad eggs. Anyone else have any experience? Because I'm having an experience, and I'm hearing from a bunch of you guys too, that like eggs used to just be eggs, you know? And then recently they're getting broken way more, they're just bad. Like, why didn't we have all these bad eggs before? Why is it suddenly all of a sudden an issue? But apparently it is. My husband accidentally ruined a batch of sweetbread because he cracked the egg right into it. It wasn't the normal kind of bad either. It didn't float and it wasn't neon, but smelled awful and was a very dark color. We have been sure now to crack the eggs in separate bowls as the bad ones keep popping up. This has been from various brands and stores. A lot of you guys are saying the same kind of things. Make sure you're cracking your eggs into a side bowl, please. Don't put them into whatever you're baking or whatever directly. Meat prices and availability have gone wonky. My husband asked me if I wanted to buy the buy one, get one free chickens. The whole chickens were $2 a pound, so that made it about $1 a pound, right? The same brand of chicken breast was almost $8 a pound. Absolutely insane. So they got the 2 whole chickens and froze them. Beef has already gone way up with $4 a pound for the cheapest hamburger. Is considered a sale now. And of course, we're all seeing the same thing, that they're putting so much water into that hamburger. It's not really worth it. And butter is $5 plus a box, with all the sales of butter never arriving at the store for the sale. Yeah, that's kind of what we're seeing other places too, isn't it? Greg says, Florida here, besides the hurricane damage and the overdevelopment consuming the citrus groves, we've also been having a lot of trouble with citrus disease outbreak here. Tug Hill says, Chesapeake, Virginia. I am not sure if it's all the Subways or just the one I went to, but they have no black olives. He said that they had none in stock at the warehouse. And I've seen that report come up from several other of you guys elsewhere. So yeah, black olives at Subway for some reason is just gone. They can't get them. Scouting Mom says, I live in southeastern Pennsylvania and was curious because every year for over 40 years we have been growing gardens and they have worked out great. But this year it seems that on all of my plants I am getting more greens and less fruit and vegetables. Things are just not growing as they should. Has anyone else had this problem? Yes, I've been hearing that from a bunch of you guys. What was it, like a month ago or so, month or two? We did like back-to-back episodes where it's like just all of you guys having the same problems all across the U.S. With your gardens, just seeing just terrible, terrible results. And it's people who have a lot of experience growing gardens too. It's not like just a bunch of rookies making rookie mistakes. It's people doing it the same way they've done it for years and years. Kim says the 911 system in Dauphin County, Pennsylvania just went down yesterday afternoon. They did get it fixed though. But down again. We had statewide issues with 911 here in Pennsylvania. And we still have counties just having problems. Sherry says Northeast Oklahoma bought a package of ribs from Sam's. Hubby opened the package to prep them to smoke, and a strong chemical smell. Ended up going to Costco to get another slab. Be careful, folks. Check your food before you use it, right? AAA says Granbury, Texas, doctors are now refusing to take babies as patients if the parents refuse to get them poked or want to delay the pokes. My newest grandbaby now must travel almost an hour to see a doctor that doesn't try and force the pokes. Be aware and prepare. They're starting to use refusal of services to get people to poison. Yeah. Solotap says, in central Minnesota, we are seeing pools of water turning red after raining. It's a combination of the smoke from the wildfires in Canada, along with the trees going through the second pollen shed. So it is dead, dry pollen being leached every time it rains. This is an exponential problem. Red algae grows in these conditions, and the red algae can be deadly to everything you can think of that needs water. If you find a red pool of water, please take care and caution. Don't let your animals drink it, and try to dump the water so that no more growth can be happening. So that's word out there for that. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining with us. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold, or you want to get their free book, Gold in the Bible, there's a link right there on the screen. Just tap it, fill out your information. They'll send you the book and reach out to you to see if you have any questions about your retirement portfolio. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.